I've grown up primarily in the Southeast, so my family is from Tuskegee, Alabama. So I've been coming back and forth from Tampa because that's where your cousins moved, to Tampa, St. Pete. So I've been coming here and I've been able to see, you know, as in, if you were from Atlanta, Miami was your big brother in the 80s. So I just want to thank Florida for all this giving us in terms of examples for entrepreneurship. When I seen Uncle Luke own a record company, I didn't want to just be a rapper, I wanted to own something. You know, when I seen people that went to college with me in Morehouse that were from Florida, there's a dignified, honor-bound spirit of Floridians where y'all just work hard, which is why the football is so good down here. Damn. But I appreciate you guys for having me, and I appreciate being here, and I thank my wife out there, Shay, somewhere, for accompanying me tonight.
Well, thanks so much for accepting the invitation, and you know, it's a lot of good football, yes, you know, right?
Yeah.
You know, and coming from a Florida State Seminoles, congratulations to Miami Hurricanes for a big victory the other day.
Georgia didn't do so good. Damn.
Well, that's Athens, that's not Atlanta, so. But I know a lot of Bulldogs are upset about that loss, but
To Ole Miss, that was my thing.
I know.
Why we gotta lose to somebody who played Dixie when they win?
I know, man, I know.
Damn.
I know. Well, at least did they get rid of the Running Rebels?
Yeah, they got rid of the running rebels. I think UNLV is still running rebels. I thought they were. Yeah. I deal with it all. I still like the General Lee. I can't hate.
So, you know, I'll be honest. And you know, you're in the music business and other ventures, but I'll tell you, I was surprised when you won Best Album Grammy.
I was not.
I know.
I was not surprised at all, man.
Because I'm not in the music industry. I know it's a lot of work, the collaboration.
Yeah.
You know, just the art form to be relevant, to have that message. You're going into the studios, you want to give a message.
Yeah.
And how did it feel you knew you had a good product, you knew the response in the community was great, but when the industry recognizes it with the Grammy, how did that make you feel?
Well, I knew I had a great product. I knew that my album, in the 50th year of hip hop, coming from a kid in Atlanta who dreamed of being a rapper at 9-year-old, I believed it was the best representation of what a black invented musical genre born 50 years ago should be. In making the album Michael, felt what it was supposed to feel like for D's protege, for Ice Cube's protege, for Scarface's protege album. So I knew I had a great album. What I didn't know is that in order to win that Grammy, you have to do much like when you're chasing the political office. You have to get out and run. So every city I went in to tour, I would get up at 8, 9 in the morning. I would go before the Grammy board. I would have to rap and sing sometimes. I would go to the charities that the Grammy supports, which there are an immense amount and very valuable, still connected with that. And I learned the process of campaigning is getting in people's face, who might have been looking another way. They might have been listening to another album, but they couldn't miss a 6'3", 300-some-pound black guy like, hey, I want you to hear my record. They would, all of a sudden everybody was like, I'm down to listen. And I understood the importance of relationships. When I won the Grammys, I wasn't surprised I won one. I wasn't surprised I won 2. But when they told me don't leave, when I was getting ready to walk out for the 3rd and I realized I had to have a suite, I realized that was God. That was bigger than me. That was God had anointed that record. That was God had put me in that place at that time. And anybody who knows me, you know, that was a praise dance I was running around on stage doing. But I was looking for my wife because she has been on this. We've been married 19 years, but for 23 years, she's been on this mission and this journey with me. So in that moment, you know, there was nothing to me like getting her on stage with me as I accepted those Grammys because she believed in me when there was not much to believe in.
That's right, that's right. That's so important because, you know, to have that helpmate there is very important. And in these conversations, I like to start out with what would be perceived as the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Because right? That's what everybody sees. That's what the notoriety is. But most of the time, the general public, they have no clue about the journey.
The journey, yeah.
The journey to get there.
It's a beast.
The pitfalls, the roadblocks.
Yes.
The door shuts. The get out of here.
Yep.
The you're not good enough.
Yep.
You're gonna fail. Talk about a moment, if there ever was, that you perhaps wanted to just give up.
I was ready to, I have a series of mixtapes called I Pledge Allegiance to the Grind. And the grind, G-R-I-N-D, means get rich independently. After I got off a major label, I just didn't want to be under anyone's thumb anymore. I didn't like being controlled and told what to do. That does not mean major labels aren't good. For some people, they're great. But for my personality type, they did not work well at the time. I started this mixtape series, and right around the time I recorded 3, I Pledge Allegiance to the Grind 3, I was ready to give up. It was a great album. I didn't think anybody would hear it because I didn't have the marketing money it took. The internet was not the explosive big thing it is now. And there was an article in Rolling Stone that said the 50 best hip hop songs that year. And with no publicist, with no marketing, with no partnership besides SMC Records, I charted on that 50 best songs for a song called Ric Flair. That record took me around the country doing, you know, little $2,000, $3,000 shows. That kept me afloat, and when I wanted to quit, my wife says, you can't quit. Look at what you've done. All you have to do is put more into it. So for me, the moment I wanted to quit was when the miracle happened. Had I quit, the miracle never would have happened. A lot of times God has the miracle waiting on you. It's on the other side of the mountain. You got to climb the peak, and then you got to climb back down into the valley. So what I've learned through my process is something Ice Cube said about me years ago. Your great weapon is consistency. You have never stopped putting out records. I know that there's a working class man in this room right now who has went in his closet or went in his bathroom or went in his bedroom by himself and cried before he went to work. Because he didn't know if he was gonna make it. He didn't know if this beautiful woman who done put her faith in him was gonna stick around. He didn't know if these children were gonna respect him. So when I make a song like I Shed Tears, it comes from a place of I felt that hardship. I'm with you. So for me, I wanna quit a lot. I want to quit every time something good, dog. I mean, every time something bad happens, or good don't go my way. But I've never been allowed to quit. My grandparents didn't allow me to quit. My wife has not allowed me to quit. I brought 4 human beings into the world, and I can't tell God, well, God, I'm tired, I gotta quit. I must work. So for me, the pleasure comes in the process of working. So I try to stay in a constant state of work so I can constantly stay happy because I'm making a little money because my wife cute and I want to be able to buy her something.
So as you all sit out there, you know, you may be in whatever phase of your business or businesses, and, you know, you're going to run into these obstacles.
Yes.
You're going to find these moments where you don't know if you can keep on keeping on. The bills are coming due, payroll is coming up. You want to quit, but every person that we've talked to, every successful business person, all have the same message, that there were several moments, not just one, not just 2, but several moments when they wanted to quit and give up. Had they quit, they would have never gotten the Grammy, would have never been able to open up or be able to go public or be able to expand or get equity partners to really bring and take that business to the next level. So never, ever, ever quit. So, obviously, noted artist in the music business.
Yes, sir.
Can you share some of your other ventures outside of music that you're involved in?
Before music, illegally selling marijuana. But I quickly learned that I wasn't fast enough to run from the police, so that wasn't nothing. In fact, people should not sell drugs in the open air market.
All right, stand down, Mayor Marpini. Stand down.
Oh no, I'm retired, and my dad's one of you guys. T.I. and I bought a restaurant together called Bankhead Seafood. And we bought the restaurant for totally sentimental reasons. We bought it because there was a woman there who had opened that restaurant 50 years ago. She was a black woman. She has the longest standing restaurant on Bankhead Highway. She had served everybody from doctors and lawyers to politicians. She told us an amazing story of buying an illegal railroad refrigerated truck of fish, and the IRS finding out. But the IRS was so officers loved her fish so much they put on a payment program instead of locking up. She was just legendary. Tip and I bought the restaurant. My wife and her development partner, a woman named Crystal Peterson, developed this beautiful restaurant for us. And opening that restaurant while that woman was still alive, and this is just over a year ago, was one of the proudest moments that I had done outside of music, because it allowed me to reinvest in the same community I grew up in. It allowed me to reinvest and scale up a business that had long deserved it. And a woman who through bloodshed and tears, blood, sweat, and tears had given the most to our community as she could. Tip and I, as rappers, were able to use investment capital to do that. We got an angel investor to give us better terms on a loan. We opened that facility, and a year later, even after having it shut down for 2 months to readjust, we were too top heavy on payroll. It's interesting you say that. So we had to learn to adjust. But that business, even though it only makes 20 cents on the dollar, I probably known that I may never have opened a restaurant. But even though it only makes 20 cents, restaurants are 20 cents on the dollar business. They aren't big business, so you have to be passionate about it. That restaurant is probably one of the greatest investments I've ever made, because when I go to career day at the school that Tip and I went to, which is 2 miles from the restaurant, I'm not talking theory and hypothesis to children. I'm saying this is what we've done. Your cousin worked in my kitchen. We're saying this is what's possible because we used to be you, and it's in a very real way. The other thing I've done is real estate and development. I recognized very early, everybody like buying cheap stuff where black folks live at. And the people who are buying these houses, who are buying these strip malls, they should look like the people who've been there 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And we should be training our young athletes and entertainers to become business people. LeBron did a brilliant thing, partnering his friend with business people to learn to do business, to help him become one of the most powerful voices in sports. We can do the same. There's no reason your brother, your sister, your cousin who really has a good mind for business can't help you, but you have to be willing to listen. What I've been able to do with my wife is listen to someone who advised me. People have heard a story that I told. I was going to buy a Demon, a Dodge a few years ago. It was $150,000, I think. I had saved up in my Nike some shoe box, like I was still selling reefer, right? I done saved up 150 cash. I done told my wife I'm gonna go buy this car. And she said, Negro, no you're not. I said, what you mean? She said, you told me you wanted multi-units and apartments. I found some. And the guy wants cash money. I think he charged maybe $250,000. We paid, and I looked at those apartments and the squatters that were living in our apartments, and I was like, I should have bought my damn car. 5 years removed from that, she's put together a deal between her and some private money in the city that's going to turn that 8-9 unit complex we bought into 24 units. They're going to be affordable housing and some that can be bought for people. And it went from a $250,000 investment to now $5 million growth. And that's small. It's not a lot of money for a city. But for me, it's an example of what athletes and entertainers should be doing. We should be learning how to be business people. We should learn how to be leaders, learn how to be politicians. And we should be reinvesting in the same communities that produce us. So for me, whether it's building apartments, whether it is building more businesses by way of restaurants, Kevin Johnson, former mayor of Sacramento, played for the Phoenix Suns, was in our restaurant, Bankhead Seafood, last week. Kevin's mother owned a bookstore for over 19 years. Kevin did a bookstore together with Andy Young. Then Kevin came to our restaurant, walked through the restaurant because he owns a restaurant chain called Fixins now. And I suggest if you're ever in Vegas, if you're ever in Tulsa, Detroit, to LA, to go. Kevin ran through and says, you guys are running a good business. Now that meant a lot to me because Kevin, as an athlete, I admired him like that. He's one of the greatest point guards ever. But with that said, knowing as a businessman, he came into my business and he saw we were doing good business. It encouraged me like he had told me I actually had a jump shot. So I was like, I'm going to be doing this more. So with my wife and I, we chose to focus on real estate. And the other thing, real estate, Bankhead Seafood, and the last but not least is, I owned a barbershop. I was in Brooklyn, New York, about 15 years ago. And I walked in the room, we were living there, recording an album. And I told my wife, I said, I just bought a barbershop. And she didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. I was like, what's wrong? Why are you mad at me? She said, you know you could have just let the other shop go out of business and we could have approached the landlord. I was like, damn, I didn't even think of that. And she said, you stick to rapping. But in the last 15 years, what I've been able to do is learn how to properly run a barbershop. I got tired of going to barbershops that felt like drug dens, gambling houses. They weren't suited for women to come in and be treated respectfully. They weren't places where families could prosper. So we changed that narrative. We did like heroes of mine have done. We cleaned up our part of the community. And the swag shop is our shop, the Shade Washing Room shop. We have 3 shops, one in State Farm Arena, so when you come to see the Heat play the Hawks, you can get a haircut and look like from the VIP section right there in our barbershop, a mile away at 365 Edgewood Avenue near Georgia State. We have a barbershop. We just did a commercial with Shaq there. It was on all Christmas Day. That's our barbershop. It was not a problem. We home one 10 minutes from the airport. Our plan is to open up another brick and mortar. But before we do that, we have a series of products rolling out. Shave, beard balm, Bump Patrol that works with beards and bikinis, and we have a shampoo. I don't want us to not be creating stuff for us. So I went out and created stuff for us. The barbershop is for us. The products are for us. Anybody's welcome. We cut our hair and our hair can come, but I wanted to be in the tradition of Bronner Brothers. I wanted to be in the tradition of Dudley's. I wanted to not only create brick and mortar stores you can go in, get your hair cut, buy a cool t-shirt. I wanted to be somewhere where we can employ greater people by producing products as well.
So you mentioned a lot of things just then, in terms of from the barbershop, from affordable housing. What I pulled out of that is that you identified areas of need.
Yes.
Unique needs, unmet wants of a community that could be profitable.
Yes.
Right? Because it doesn't make sense to go into something that's not going to be profitable.
You want to make money in business.
So let's talk about just the mindset, because you can have a vision, you can have an idea, you can see a want, you can see a need in the marketplace. Walk us through the process of transitioning a vision, a thought, to actual execution and making it successful.
Man, I know you have this vision in your head that the world is going to soon see what it looks like. Start fast and start small. If you want to start a company, what is the most micro version of that company you can do? Because it's easier to scale up once succeeding than it is to scale down once failing. It has been easier to walk in a shop and say, man, I can't afford all 10 barber chairs at the same time. My wife said, well, you only got 2 barbers, you only need 2 chairs. Now, by the end of 3-4 months, all our chairs were full. But I had to learn to start small, but start. Don't pontificate too much. Don't procrastinate too much. Don't tell your friends every day, man, I think I want to gonna do it. Just do it. Get started doing it. Because once you get started doing it, you start to gain the knowledge of what I can and can't do honestly and reasonably, and you can adjust. Learn from the failures of others. You don't have to fail to learn. You can watch other folks fail and say, oh shit, got that lesson, I'm gonna keep moving in another direction. I believe that many times, more than lack of capital, I believe many times more than lack of true relationships, our fear gets in the way of us even starting to build the relationships that will get us to capital. Our fear of looking like we're ignorant or don't know stops us from asking for mentorship. Our fear of how we perceive our people on the internet keep us in a space of regret for never having tried. So I'll say try fast, start small enough to manage, and don't be afraid to make some mistakes. Just be like water and adapt and adjust very quickly.
Great answer. Great answer and response. A nice segue to my next question, because you brought up fear.
Yes.
Good seeing you.
False evidence of things appearing real, right?
Yes.
At the community, how do we overcome the fear? How do we overcome the fear, not just even to start, but feeling not only insecure, feeling that I don't have all the answers, I don't have all the money? How do you best address fear, which is the biggest obstacle of starting anything?
You just gotta do it. You gotta, it's like, I remember the way I learned to swim in the YMCA was very gentle. I was a chubby kid. Roll over, Michael. Hold your head back. See, you're not sinking, Michael. Your lungs are like little balloons. They're gonna keep you afloat. My cousins in the country learned how to swim thrown in. This is how they come to the lake. You're the lake. He don't know how to swim. He don't know how to swim. Wait! And you ain't gonna die. We don't come get you before you die. All my cousins are fantastic swimmers. I fell in the ocean off a jet ski, and I remember, turn around, Michael. My cousins were thrown into action. Throw yourself into action, but not without a plan. My cousins knew by throwing me and my other cousins in the lake, they could get in and get us, what we did our last final. So, what will it take you to live for 3 months or 6 months? Save what it will take you to live for 3 months or 6 months. Put that to the side. Don't go out. Don't have no margaritas. Don't kick it with your homegirls for Mayday. Don't kick it with your homeboys. We going out. We in Atlanta. We going to the flank. Save. If you are cousins and guys or gals, stay and occupy one place together. Share on the rent. If it's 3 cousins staying in the same apartment complex paying $2 grand a month, y'all paying 4 extra grand to the apartments you shouldn't. You should save that $4 grand. All 3 of you guys live together, tolerate each other for a year, and have $48,000 at the end of the month to invest in your business. We're going to have to make some sacrifices, but the only way you beat fear is to face it. You have to face fear. You have to say, this is how I think I have built the net under myself. I've managed to save this, but you got to get out in the market, and you got to try your ideas. You got to try your product, and you have to be relentless about it. Byron Allen is a hero of mine. I watched Byron Allen on television since I was 5. He used to be on a show called Real People. He was skinny as hell, nappy hair just like me. I used to love seeing anybody black on TV. Byron Allen, Lamar Burton. I used to watch him, and when I met him, I said, man, you have been a hero of mine. First, just being an actor on television when I was a child. I say, but I've seen what you had to do to become a billionaire. I saw Byron Allen when he was saying, okay, at 2 to 6 in the morning, they're not playing much on TV. He went and produced his own shows out of his pocket, 24-minute shows, then took the 6 minutes, told the networks, I give you 3 minutes to sell, and I'm gonna sell these 3 minutes. And that man quietly, over the course of 25 years, built a $1 billion company before, as he bought the Weather Channel. Then he bought the Weather Channel and said, we can do more to tell people where it's raining at. Start putting on some exciting stuff. You be stoned at 3 in the morning watching this Weather Channel? I know the police here, but I know y'all done did it too. Well, I'd be like, damn, hurricanes in Florida, how they survive? So, Mr. Allen showed me don't be afraid to invest in yourself and don't be afraid to start at a scale you can grow up. So I watch people, Robert Smith, I read Charlie Munger, I read Warren Buffett. Not that I think, oh, I'm gonna be a billionaire, but I'm like, if he got $1 billion with this knowledge, I know I can pick up 100 million. I know I can figure this out. So for me, it is about having to build an absolute fearlessness, though, that's not based on foolishness. Your fearlessness has to be based on research, it has to be based on study, it has to be based on some even practice, but you must confront fear and you must push through. But remember, save 3 to 6 months of rent or mortgage. Remember to partner with your cousins and your friends and family that you can stand to live with and manage to save some money together. And get to a team of people. Nothing is wrong with having a team of people to help you. Jesus even needed a team. He had 12 of his homeboys running with him. So, one-on-one so cool. Shouts out to Judas. But I just want to tell you guys, man, to absent the fear, find people you can collectively collaborate with, and go forth, man, to start changing the community now.
Powerful, 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 powerful. So, when not necessarily specific to your businesses, but obviously technology has always been a part of disruption in business.
Yeah.
And I was listening to John Hope Bryant I had a year ago here in Miramar.
That's
my
guy.
He said something very powerful. He said that at no other time in American history that there has been an even playing for economic exploitation in any technology than it is today as relates to artificial intelligence. There are generational strongholds on this technology or this industry. Everybody's trying to figure this thing out right now. So how are you confronting technology, whether it's artificial intelligence or how it may be serving as a threat to any of your businesses? How have you begun to look at artificial intelligence as a threat, as an opportunity, or leveraging it?
I mean, I don't look at anything as permanent threat or opportunity. I think there's going to be opportunity for those that are looking for it, and there will be threats for people that are not and that are sedentary. We first saw, Shay and I, we travel about 123 days a year when I'm touring, about 100-something days. I remember going to Europe, you go to McDonald's at 2 in the morning, and McDonald's is open, but there's only one person working there. Everything is being ordered by a little machine. And I was like, man, that's not gonna come to America. Hey, we like people serving, we like to yell at folks, fight at the Waffle House. We need somebody. Within 3 years, I started seeing it in California. Then I started seeing it in New York. And then I start seeing it in Atlanta. I'm like, oh, so this is how it works. It starts there. It's a good idea there. Someone says, oh, that's a great idea, and they bring it back. It's interesting because I was watching something where a kid was like, yo, they have these highfalutin grocery stores in Europe. They're like convenience stores and gas stations, but they're more like Whole Foods or less like your local Exxon. He's bringing those to America now because he saw a good idea. So for me, I'm not threatened by AI because I've seen it help some people. Lost his voice, AI allowed him to rap and corrected his voice over the track. I've seen it hurt some people. It's going to be much more difficult for people to, charge people to be speech writers. GPT seems to do a good job of that. So there's always, but what I do know is this: I'ma always have to pay my plumber. I'ma always have to pay my carpenter. I'ma always have to pay my electrician. So my son is in trade school. Trades right now are the next wave of millionaire creators. And I want to say this to black men. It's okay to tell our boys, take your butt to trade school if you're not doing nothing. Because even if you go to college at Morehouse, I want you in there for a trade. I want a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist. I need someone out of there where your money's going to return. I love art. I'm on the board of the High Museum. I don't know if I would have been able to use an art history degree. Well, if I'm a plumber right now, I played my plumber $9,000 before I got on the plane. Because my daughter was like, Dad, I got to have my bathroom right, So I would encourage us to look toward trades more than debate toward AI. I would challenge us to look to see where AI fits in our community and how can we be the ranchers of those AI cattle that are coming in. And I just want to say, black people, you guys are brilliant. You guys have did more with nothing than anybody else. So if AI is a big something, I know you're going to figure it out. Start to follow people like John Hope Bryant and see what moves he's making. Start to follow people like Robert Smith. If you look at Brother Charlemagne the God, Charlemagne's a friend of mine, a brother to me. 25 years ago, I met him in South Carolina in a little knockoff radio station. The same human being he is today, but he saw $250 million coming. AI can't do that. AI can't anoint a personality in the way that he anointed himself. AI can't go find in other black people to give platform to. So for me, I would say try your best to find where I fit within this. And in terms of my businesses, most black guys ain't gonna let a robot cut their hair. So I'm pretty cool on that. We produce our own product, and I'm sure you wanna wash your own hair. In terms of real estate and development, I have to ask my wife how it's affecting over that side. Know that you're always gonna need those tradesmen I just talked about to build the things that I'm saying. And I know in our restaurant, we've been able to trim down staff some and take advantage of some artificial intelligence.
So the point is that to understand technology and advancement so that you can leverage it to be successful. So what I would add is that moms, dad, have your daughters too go to trade school.
I would agree. Now my daughter's at Hampton. She didn't give a damn about no Hampton. Now my daughter's at Hampton in Virginia. She's like, Dad, I'm gonna use my mind. I'm gonna let y'all do that crime and stuff. But I would encourage, there's an amazing program in Georgia called Georgia Youth Build. And it teaches young men and young women from 14 to 24 years old. It prepares them for a trade and then partners them with the tradesmen to go into apprenticeship. So I want to shout out Christina over there and AJ, man, they're doing a hell of a job.
Before we go into Q&A, we're going to have a limited Q&A, but we will have some Q&A. Where do you see Michael, your last name is Render.
Yeah, Michael Render.
Where do you see Michael Render 20 years from now?
Where do I see Michael Render 20 years from now? I mean, the way my rap friends are, I'll probably be a grandpa by then. And hopefully I'll be sitting on the dock of the bay talking shit to my grandkids. I don't know what's wrong with your mama. But we gonna make it all right. I would hope that in 20 years, I try to live in a 2, 5, and 10-year plan. So I've lost some weight. I'm gonna try to lose 40 more in the next 1 year or 2. My goal is for my product line and for swag shops to be grown in brick and mortar. My goal is to see the Sherwood development projects. I would like to see that grow, and I know it's going to grow because my wife is leading that cause. I'd like to be solidified as a legend in the game I've given my life to, but I know in 20 years I'm going to have to run for office or something. I know that on a very local level, we lost lost in Atlanta a man. I was down here for a few weeks ago for a funeral. There was a man named H. Rap Brown. His name was Jamil Alameen. I got a chance the last 2.5 years to know that man. His son is here now. Thank you for being here. I didn't get a chance to post on my IG because I was so overwhelmed with grief. And I was overwhelmed because I feel like as black people, we always looking for answers we already got. I don't have to look for black business because I've seen men sell newspapers and bean pies on the corner go from doing that to owning restaurants and real estate companies. I don't have to keep looking for a God that loved me when Marcus Garvey had already told me, you the first people on earth, like a lot of times say, hey, God loves you. I don't have to keep looking outside. What I'm looking to do is like Jamil Alameen did in the West End in Atlanta, is clean up my community and give children a place to be competent and competent. What I'm looking to do is like Jamil Alameen when he was H. Rap Brown, sit in the company of others and say this is unapologetically and unequivocally who we are, and we're going to be accepted and we're going to grow from that. I'm looking for us to honor our elders and our ancestors. And you don't honor them just by saying their name, you honor them by doing the work. So when you say in 20 years where I would like to be comparable to Andrew Young. I would like to be comparable to Jamil Alameen. I would like to be comparable to the work that Martin and Malcolm did. And that means being in the community. And I want to be in the community as a business owner. I want to be in the community as a regular citizen, but I know at some point I'm going to get pissed off enough watching television to say I'm finally sick of it, I'm going to run for office. Because I want to see people who are unbribable in office. I want to see people who already know what, if you play for the state, you already been famous. So the office ain't going to make you no more famous, all right? We have a mayor of integrity here because you've experienced some of the pitfalls and the temptations. So they have a man of integrity, and I would like to be that in 20 years. I would like to be a man of principles and integrity. I would like to be a man my children are proud to say, that's my father. I like to remain a man my wife is happy to say, that's my husband. So ultimately, my 20-year goal, like my grandfather died, is just simply be a good man, to have done my part for the community and have done my best to help my fellow citizens. Yeah.
So at this time, we will take a few questions from the audience. If I would have Tara come forward.